Good morning. We've got a job this morning to fit some new worktops for a customer. So he's fitted a kitchen himself. So and he's just got us to come in and to fit the worktops basically. So we've already got set up this morning and need to, first job, change the blade in this. So I've got a nice sharp blade for cutting these worktops, and then we're going to start fitting these. So this smaller one here is going to go over in that little corner there, so we might start with that one, get him out of the way, and then we're going to move this one across here, which is going to be a breakfast bar. We'll fit that one first and work our way around. It's usually easier with the jig and that sort of thing to work it from the left to right as we're going. So yeah, we'll get all set up and we'll show you when we start cutting. So we've got the first worktop on this one, because there's a pre-formed curve on these worktops. I've measured the distance out, it's 8mm past the edge of the worktop, so I've added 8mm onto the side here, so that flows nicely around there. On this one, we've got a tiny little bit of the chipboard showing there, so I need to put a bit of this edging on there. Now when it's that small, it's a bit of a pain, so what I normally do is I just put the edging all the way along there. You won't really notice that when it's in place. So I'll turn that round. Oh, just to let you know, on this, we've just cut this simply with the plunge saw. Got a brand new blade in there, so that's as smooth as the right tip for up to that edge, so that'll be fine. So yeah, we're going to glue this bit of edging strip on here using some contact adhesive. It's the best stuff to use for on this laminated edging. We'll glue that on there and we can leave that for a while to dry before we trim all the edges off, so it's all fresh. So I've got the next bit of worktop. We've already cut the end off with the plunge saw to get the right length. And then as you can see on this wall, there's quite a few dips in this wall. So quite often it's about on the limit, but we might get away with that gap normally if it was being tiled over and that sort of thing. Because you need to just be a bit careful when you're cutting something off the back of the worktop that you're not reducing the front too much and losing your overhang over the units. On this piece though, because it's a breakfast bar, you're not going to really see that. So what we'll do, and also there's nothing sitting on top of this worktop, so it's only going to be silicone finish. So I need to get a bit closer really. So along this bit, I've scribed it. I just use a packer for this, and with a pen, then just run it along the wall. And that gives me where I need to cut out. So I've got a little bump here, and a little bump down that far end. So we'll take this back now, we'll just cut those off, and then that will hopefully sit a bit nicer to the wall and close enough that we can get away with a bit of silicone now. So there we go, I've just cut that with the jigsaw, and now we've got, I don't know how well you can see that, but it's a much better. So we've got still a slight gap there, but nothing a bit of silicone won't get over. So that sits a lot nicer there. And then our next move is to cut the female join, rotor that out with this bit of worktop here. So we'll get set up and we'll show you a little bit of that in action. So we've set up the jig here ready. On this jig, just a little bit about it, just to give you a little bit of know-how on it. That there is the left female and right female. So this one's a right female. So what we do on this one is put the pegs in there, and then another worktop 600 wide. So put that in there so we know it comes out the right distance. When you're cutting the worktops, you always need to make sure you've got you're cutting it on the right side. And when I say that, I mean that when that cutter spins clockwise, when you put it in there and you start cutting, you need to make sure that you're cutting into the worktop onto the good edge, if that makes sense. Otherwise you'll have breakout on there. So if I was doing it a left hand female, I'd have to turn the worktop upside down, do it from the other side, because the blade would be trying to split the laminate out. So that I've made that mistake in my younger days, and it's not much fun. So it's always just keep your head thinking in that sense. So I'll show you a little bit now of me just writing out this. Okay, we just had a battery die on us, so I hope you got all that last bit on there. Yeah, so I'm going to show you how to cut all this. You probably need about 5 or 6 passes through there. You don't want the blade to be working too hard, you'll start burning. So set the first depth, it's about 6-7 mil. There we go, that's all the way through. Just take these clamps off and show you that. So that's that cut nicely through there. What we're going to do next then is cut for the bolts. So we'll turn it over, cut out the bolts, and also for the biscuit joints as well. So I've turned it over now to do the bolts. There'll be 3 bolts going in here on the 600. I've set the depth on the writer because obviously we don't want to be going all the way through. So I've set it to roughly halfway through the board. Again, we'll do 3 passes through there just to clean out for the bolt holes. Yeah, I'll get that sorted and we'll show you the next bit there. Okay, those bolt holes cut. And then the last thing we need to do for this join is to cut the cut the biscuit joints in there. So I'll do those in between where the bolts are. It just helps when you put it together, gives you a stronger join, and also helps you to level the 2 worktops. So it just makes life a little bit easier. So I just use my smaller writer for that with a biscuit joint bit in. So that'll sit in there. We'll glue those in. When the glue goes in, it expands those biscuits, so it just helps hold all that in. So we'll have 3 of those in there. That helps set it nicely. 3 bolts, and that worktops joint is not going to open up then. So to do the male joint then, we've got our female sitting on there, put the male just over the top, and then from underneath you can mark that along the same side. So you do it that way rather than doing it at 90 degrees just in case your walls are out slightly, so we get a much neater cut there. So do that, then we'll take the board outside. Okay, so we've brought the worktop outside now. We've got our marked line here. So on this, I've got my left and right nail joint. If it's 90 degrees, I can put one top and bottom and go across. This is just slightly out, so put it on the one closest to pivot off that, and then we've run it up to the line and clamped it. Normally, if you're going for an accurate in terms of length cut, then I usually have to move that back 8.5 mil, because I know that's from the edge of that to my cutter, so it's the right length. With this, because we've got a long run and we've got to cut further down, I can just move it to the line, cut it to the line. So we'll get this cut, get the bolt holes in, and right to the biscuit joints. You probably don't need to bore you with all that. So I'll get all that cut, and then we'll show you where they slot in. So the male joint's all cut now. We've just tested that. That's all. That all looks good. Obviously we're not going to cut that yet. We've still got a few more, join that yet. We've got a few more bits to do. So we've marked out where the hob's going to go. So I need to cut that out with the plunge saw, and also I need to cut this because we're having a straight join because it's such a long run. The 2 worktops are going to be joined together. So we'll get that cut this off, and obviously put the bolt holes in for that. So for this next bit, we're ready to join the 2 worktops. It's a bit of a long old run. It's not a quick thing, this. So as you can see there, I've put the biscuit joints in ready. I've got the bolt here. I've put this one on first because I can't get access to that after, and so on this side I've drilled a hole out so I can tighten them up from that end. So there we go, make sure you can see that. The other 2 are fine, I can get access to them, so that's okay. When we do this, glue this join up, use this colour fill, which will be basically the same colour or as close as to it. It's basically just a coloured glue, and that'll give you a much better join on there to finish. Just fills any slight gaps. So yeah, we'll get all that glued up, and we'll show you what it looks like all done. So that's joint number 1 done. Gonna get a bit of a close up there. That's that one sorted. This colour fill is, it might be a little bit on the light side, but you know, they always just try and get it as close as I can. So I don't know if you want to just show them underneath then. We've got the bolts. So there's the bolts all done up as well. Yeah, that's that first one done. Hob fits in there nicely, and then we've got this one, this joint cut. We're nearly ready to do that one. We've just got a cut out for the sink here and get that last one joined up. Okay, so we've fixed the sink in, so that's all ready to go. Just needs the plumber to come and do his business in there. This one's about ready to go now. We've set everything out, it's all cut and the bits are done. So we're just about to glue this one up and get this straight joint fixed in. Okay, so we've got all the worktops done now. They're all fixed, obviously from underneath. So just fixed up through there. Fix the leg on there, so that's all nice and strong. All the joins are looking good. There's that second one. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe if you like. And we'll see you on the next one.